Hello. Hello, police. Yeah, what's the problem, sir? We just drove down our farm track. Yeah. Go and feed our pheasants. We come across a Range Rover with 3 people in it. Yeah. It appears that they're dead. I don't know what's happening. Blood in the motor all over them.
And welcome back to a new video on the Essex Boys case. As always, if you are enjoying the content, please do give the video a thumbs up. And if you're interested in the Essex Boys case, or simply true crime in general, don't forget to hit the subscribe button below. The following statement is from Francis Theobald. On Wednesday the 6th of the 12th, 1995, during the day I can recall seeing a white car pull onto our property. I thought nothing of this at the time, but this vehicle was followed by what I believe was a green Range Rover. I took notice of this vehicle for 2 reasons. Firstly, we had considered purchasing a vehicle of the same type, and also the occupants of the Range Rover were large white males. I am aware that Mr. Jackson runs a business called Billericay Bailiff Services. Therefore, because of the general demeanour of the occupants of the Range Rover, I just assumed they were going to call in at Mr. Jackson's outbuilding. I saw the white vehicle, of which I could not give any further detail, drive in. It did not stop, but continued along to the second exit. The Range Rover followed behind, and I formed the opinion that these 2 vehicles were together. Neither vehicle stopped, and drove out of the gate and back onto the road towards the Rettendon turnpike. I remember thinking to myself, cheeky buggers. I have tried to put a time to the instant. It was daylight, and it was not snowing. I believe that it could have been whilst Alan was helping my husband, which caused me to be outside in the farm shop area. If this is the case, it would be Wednesday morning before 10:30 AM. The Range Rover I saw was an F-Reg vehicle. There was at least 2 occupants. The passenger in the front seat had a cream-coloured sleeve. I have seen photographs in the newspaper of the victims of the shooting incident, and the people in the Range Rover were of a similar description to these. The passenger in the Range Rover had light brown hair. He also had what I would call a jowly fat face and aged under 40. As previously mentioned, I cannot give any description of occupants or type of car described as the white vehicle. Okay, so yet again we are faced with the dilemma of 2 vehicles being seen together. Was this the dark blue Range Rover which would match the F registration, or was this, as Francis Theobald has stated here, a green Range Rover with a white vehicle? Now, could this be the same green Range Rover that went 1 mile down the road to the Rettendon turnpike, turned around and doubled back? Was this these 2 vehicles looking for the farm lane, scoping out the farm track, seeing who was around at that time of day, seeing that any sort of entrance or exit points as to where they could escape after committing this murder? These 2 vehicles are absolutely paramount to this case. These vehicles aren't just seen on one occasion. They are always together, and they are always noted as following each other. These vehicles pull into White House Farm, into the car parking area. They do not park up. They simply double back around across themselves and then go straight back onto Main Road and then back to the way that they came from. Now, what is the purpose of this? Is this Tucker, Tate and Rolfe? I don't believe personally it is. I believe this is a second Range Rover with a white car. I believe that these 2 vehicles could potentially have something to do with the deaths of Tucker, Tate and Rolfe. Now let's go back to the other statement where the man at 12 PM nearly crashed into a green Range Rover on the Rettendon Turnpike roundabout. Now that man could have easily mistaken the fact that a white car was with the green Range Rover. He was clearly worried about crashing into this vehicle, as he had lost control of his own vehicle at the time and was sliding across the roundabout. It could easily be that the white vehicle was with this green Range Rover at that precise time. Could these 2 events and these 2 sightings actually be linked together? Could they be seeing the same green Range Rover and the same white vehicle? Yet again, the description of the occupants regarding this Range Rover matched descriptions formerly heard of in the other eyewitness accounts. largely built, thick-set, large men. This is the common theme that we are getting when these Range Rovers are seen. They have multiple occupants, and the majority of them, if not all of them, appear large in build or thick-set. Okay, so let's now take a look quite briefly at the next sequence of events according to the timeline. Now from here, the blue Range Rover containing Tucker, Tate and Rolfe heads to Dorman's garage to conduct some business. From there, Tucker, Tate, Rolfe and Peter Cuthbert head to TGI Fridays in West Thurrock. From there, Tucker, Tate and Rolfe head off in the blue Range Rover to Timberlog Lane, where Tony Tucker settles up for a recent carpet fitting. This happens to then coincide with the phone calls from the Sorrel Horse Inn in Ipswich to the payphone on Timberlog Lane. This is supposedly when the sequence of events regarding their deaths starts to take shape. We then see the blue Range Rover head back to Dorman's garage to finalise their business, and then the blue Range Rover is seen at Sarah Saunders' mum's house. We will now continue with the next statement and the next sighting, which is with the blue Range Rover being seen at Brook Road in Grays. Now, one can only assume at this point that both Tony Tucker and Pat Tate have been dropped off home, as Craig Rolfe is spotted on his own by a plainclothed police officer. Let's take a look at that following statement. At around 16:30 hours on Wednesday the 6th of December 1995, I was on duty in plain clothes in company with DC Williams in an unmarked police vehicle. At this time I left Grays police station and drove into Brook Road. As I did so, I saw a blue Range Rover, index number Foxtrot 424, November Papa Echo, which was travelling in front of my vehicle. I was aware that Craig Rolfe was the user of this vehicle. The vehicle parked in Brook Road, adjacent to the front entrance to the police station, and I parked my vehicle directly behind it. I got out of my vehicle, and as I did so, the driver and sole occupant of the Range Rover also got out. I recognised the driver to be a person whom I know to be Craig Rolfe. I called out to Rolfe and had a conversation with him regarding a future appointment to obtain a statement from his common law wife, Miss Jaggers. The conversation lasted for a few seconds, and as I recollect, Rolfe was wearing a black puffer jacket and tracksuit bottoms. I then returned to my vehicle. I did not see where Rolfe went to as he walked away from his vehicle. I then left the scene. I can be certain that the male I spoke with was Craig Rolfe. Okay, now a few interesting things to pick up on regarding this statement, and quite important ones at that. The first being that this police officer has basically openly admitted that even by seeing the vehicle and the registration, he knew that Craig Rolfe was a user of that vehicle. Craig Rolfe was a known criminal. Craig Rolfe was known to the police. Craig Rolfe was known to this officer. Craig Rolfe was driving whilst disqualified, which was also known by the vast majority, you would assume, of the police force. This officer does not inquire about the tax on the vehicle, which it had none, and does not inquire about the status of Rolfe's licence. Craig Rolfe was driving without a licence. He was a disqualified driver. This officer could have taken him off the road and potentially have saved Craig Rolfe's life that day, but he didn't. For whatever reason, he let it slip. Another point worth mentioning is that at 4:30 in the afternoon on the 6th of December, Craig Rolfe is the sole occupant of the blue Range Rover. Tucker and Tate are elsewhere during this time. And as a side note, something else to pick up on is that Craig Rolfe during this time is wearing tracksuit bottoms. So he returns home at some point to put on jeans and the jacket that he is wearing currently. If you would like to learn more about the Range Rover murders, then click on the video in front of you now. You will also see the Essex Boys playlist, which has all of the videos concerning this case in one convenient folder. Many thanks for joining me for this video. I look forward to seeing you all again for the next one. Take care. Cheers.